is Bryce. Our opponent is Valley.
Stand up straight, be still.
I want to accomplish to at least score one touchdown and to win the game.
Bryce had a strong work ethic, and I think a lot of that came from me just constantly pushing him and just telling him that he needed to be better. We never cut him any slack, and I think he just got used to that, like he was always chasing something.
His desire to get better is so great that, there's nothing that he could physically or mentally do that would ever satisfy him.
Effort, attitude, heart. Characteristics that shape Bryce Cosby.
Next week, we've got a good team that we got to play, but I still
Who
think
is that?
we could probably beat them, the Derby City Cardinals.
Bryce was very inquisitive. He asked a lot of questions. He just took an interest to sports very quickly. I don't know where that came from other than I liked sports. His dad, played sports. I'd steered him towards football, I'm not gonna lie, because I like that sport the best. I knew that there was, risk, with injury, but I just enjoyed watching it, so I wanted him to play, and he took to it, and it took off.
She wasn't always gonna give me what I wanted to hear, but more of what I needed to hear. So looking back on it, I was very appreciative of that, and she's just always been that solid rock and foundation in my life.
He has always been way beyond his age as far as his maturity, his mentality, and his desire to do whatever it takes to be great. He is one of those people, wherever you put him, people will gravitate to him. His desire to get better is so great that, there's nothing that he could physically or mentally do that would ever satisfy him.
The first lesson Coach Peters always taught me was the value of hard work. Even if you're not the most talented person and you don't have great God-given height, weight, talent, that, hard work will get you to where you need to be.
Be the very best that you can be every day. He never shied away from that. There was never a moment where there was friction because I was riding him about something, and I rode him all the time. He's putting in the hours and work and sweat and tears and blood for something that's years away. And he's doing that as a 7th and an 8th grader. So I knew he would be a college football player then.
50-yard touchdown run by number 26, Bryce Cosby.
After excelling on the youth football field, Bryce continued his success at Louisville's DuPont Manual High School. His future was off to a quick start, but in the 6th game of his sophomore season, a broken collarbone sent him to the sidelines.
Once the season ended, my mom, explained to me, if you truly want to go Division I, this is the season to do it. Hearing that message really motivated me going into my junior year.
This is not the worst injury that you could have. He's never had a concussion. At that point, he had never had a lower extremity injury.
My mom was sort of looking at the big picture, knowing that the next season was one of the biggest seasons of my life.
Bryce returned for the best season of his high school career. A school record 8 interceptions and returning 3 for touchdowns, college coaches began to notice, including Power 5 school Virginia. Even though interest was shown, the offer never came.
I feel like you're about to get a scholarship offer and then to not get it due to you not being quote unquote tall enough. It was definitely a sense of disappointment, but at the same time, I just try to use things like that as motivation.
I truly felt like he was gonna be where he was supposed to be. We just tried to research and say, okay, if you're not gonna get a Power 5 offer, we're gonna see how many schools need DBs. We didn't wanna just send him somewhere where he's sitting on the bench.
If they're not already, they're gonna regret not taking him because, what he possesses is something that you just can't teach.
I'm still getting a lot of attention from colleges. I'm still getting the opportunity to make my dreams a reality. So whoever it is, it doesn't really matter at this point. I was just more blessed to be in the situation that I was.
Bryce continued to get attention from Division I schools. He was named First Team All-District and First Team All-Metro following his junior season. On January 18th, 2016, all of the positive feelings towards being recruited were put to a sudden halt.
What's your emergency?
Well, it's being called a public health issue claiming the lives of local teenagers.
Metro Louisville's latest teenage suicide victim was a 17-year-old Emmanuel High School football standout.
Jalen was a great kid when it came to football, great athlete, always brought a positive attitude to the team. We rode the same bus. He lived really close by to me.
Jalen stood 6'4". 285 pounds was the number, but they call him a gentle giant. They were friends. They played football together, Bryce and Jalen, but you don't know what kind of impact you're making on people. And I often say a candle loses nothing by lighting another.
That was the first person I think Bryce ever personally knew that died.
Look on his mom's face, walking down the aisle, we were in a church, was like, it just looked like her soul was gone. Like she was there, but she wasn't really there. And that hurt and pain that I seen her with sort of stuck with me.
For me, that was an indication it wasn't about me. Okay, I'm in church. I had my kids in church. But this was somebody who don't know you. For somebody who doesn't understand that there's life after death.
This event definitely took me by surprise and sort of opened my eyes to some of the deeper issues within kids of my age at that time that I sort of had to pay more attention to moving forward.
He's always said that, that's his motivation to keep going. It did give Bryce some strength ultimately.
Months after Jalen's death, Cosby committed to Ball State, where he would receive the opportunity to play right away. On September 2nd, 2017, he made his first start for Ball State as a true freshman against the University of Illinois.
It was my first collegiate game ever, my first start in college. It's a Big Ten team, it's on national TV. Everyone at home's watching.
Crouch over the middle, intended for Turner, and may have been intercepted after it was tipped by Dudek.
I came up with a big play. It just sort of felt good. Overall, it was just sort of a sense of the accomplishment, just because everything I had been through prior in high school, getting to this point, and now I'm competing on the highest level.
Bryce started all 12 games as a freshman, leading the team in interceptions. But the Cardinals finished the year 2-10 and 0-8 in the Mid-American Conference. The sport that brought him joy was now troublesome.
It was very, very hard. 'Cause prior to my freshman year in college, football had always been sort of my getaway, sort of what I went to, and anything outside of football was causing turmoil in my life. I knew I could come to football and let all that out on the field, and I would leave happy at the end of the day. What used to be like my happy place just became a huge negative space in my life.
His success continued as a sophomore in 2018, leading the team in tackles and interceptions. But like his high school career, the momentum was stopped again, this time with a dislocated knee in the final game of the season at Miami.
I was just running. I seen the ball thrown, I turned around and started running. I took sort of an elongated step, and I just felt it pop like 3 or 4 times.
We just kept trying to be positive and, just take it a day at a time. This is not gonna happen overnight. And so, I think after that, he realized, okay, I'm gonna be okay. Once he got over the pain factor, because he had never experienced any kind of pain like that after the surgery.
Overall, yeah, it can be a very lonely process, but I feel like with the right attitude, when you finish the process of coming back from an injury, you'll be thankful for it at the end of the day.
Bryce finished the 2019 season with 2 interceptions and a forced fumble. Cosby's 2 takeaways contributed to the Cardinals' conference-leading 15 interceptions on the season. Through it all, one thing has stayed constant: a dream, a legacy, a reminder.
I usually write my mom's name, my aunt's name. Rest in peace, Jalen, 502, which is the area code of Louisville. And any message that I feel like is prevalent for the game that we're playing. All in all, those words are just words that bring me back home during the game. If I ever get rattled, if I'm ever not in the right headspace, if I ever feel like things aren't really going the way I want them to, I know on my tape it's always words that'll bring me back home, give me that motivation I need to push when things aren't necessarily going the way I want them to. Because I know one of my former teammates, he took his life, and yes, that was an unfortunate situation, but him being my former teammate, I know with the position I'm in today, me having this platform to be a Division I college athlete, I know he would want me to push through. I feel like it's an obligation for me to give everything I have because there's people who can't.
I really believe that everything happens for a reason, and I definitely think that one of those reasons were so that me and Bryce could cross paths and I could get to know him, could get to know his family, and we could help each other grow as people.
Bryce wasn't the biggest player. Bryce isn't the biggest player, but Bryce worked hard to get where he's at in order to play at Ball State. Bryce never gave up, and Bryce has a tenacity, to want to play football. He has that passion, he has that drive. Thank you for remembering. Thank you for keeping Jalen's dream alive. It's a lot of joy in knowing that Jalen touched somebody's life.
He's been a very good son, and he's never given me any trouble. He's always done what I've asked him to do. Bryce is somebody that he's just so likable. I mean, he's one of those kids that just, he wants everybody to be okay.
I just always wanted to be somebody that teachers, professors, coaches could say, I want my son to be like that. Outside of football, I just always try to be the best person I can be, regardless of what happens in between the lines.